Welcome to The Collective, powered by MMP. The ideas presented here are intended to assist in developing a strong and profitable business for Amway IBOs affiliated with Markham Productions. For the calendar year 2023, the average income from Amway for all U.S. registered IBOs at the Founders Platinum level and below was $841 before expenses. See www.amway.com/income-disclosure for details and the most up-to-date information. Earnings depend on many factors, including customer base, business experience, effort, dedication, and quality and performance of the downline sales team. Enjoy the following message.
Hey, what's up, LLC team? This is Kyle and Lauren Wills. We live in Madison, Wisconsin, and build business together, obviously. And the topic that we really want to hit with all you today is this idea of really positioning your life to win. You know, you're going to hear from your upline in this environment the things that you need to do to move your business forward. But we've found oftentimes that sometimes even more important decisions or routines or ways to think about, your life is going to be more important than actually like what you do in business, whether it's things to avoid or things to do. So I want to kick off and just talk about this idea of finances and job and budget. And this is one stumbling block for a lot of people. This is also a really big advantage for a lot of people if you think about it properly. So again, we're not necessarily saying this is a one size, fits all mentality for some of these points, but we just want to speak to a couple things that we've seen that have worked really well. And on the financial aspect, I'm a really big believer that having a budget, taking a look at your monthly expenses, having that zoned in on and really laid out so you know where your money is going is very, very crucial. Obviously, like you can get into the tactics of that kind of stuff, but being able to reduce debt, being able to save a little bit more. And I think the real big thing that we all want to question ourselves in is where is our money going? Mm-hmm. And is our wallet and is our spending habits, are they really aligned with where our values are? Or are we sinking a lot of money into things that really don't add to our lives as much, or we don't really care about, or we're trying to maybe keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, on things that aren't, important to our value system. So I just recommend, doing an audit when it comes to that. Maybe taking a look at things like subscriptions that you don't need, or even just making calls on certain services like internet, insurance, sometimes like shopping around. We've had countless examples on our team of people saving significant amounts of money, just being willing to pick up the phone and make a call and shop around for a different rate. So that's one big aspect. And then when it comes to the job too, I think it's important to take a step back and really think about like what you want long term. And there's lots of different aspects of jobs, but it really can be broken down into, a couple buckets. One is obviously the income. Two is the stress, the responsibility, the hours, right? Three is the nature of what you do. So I think it's really important to weigh all of those different options. And I think what a lot of people do is they weigh the first one the heaviest, and they don't really think about the others. They look at the income of that job, and that's all they're really considering. And the point I really want to make is the fact that sometimes that income is not worth the stress, is not worth the responsibility, is not worth the travel, is not worth the strain that puts on you or your family or whatever it might be. So you really do want to take a step back and really consider like what's important. Where do you want to put your time into? I'm more of a fan personally of having something that's a little bit more stable, a little bit more 9 to 5. If you can be focusing your working hours when most other people are working, if it's a job that stays at the office when you're done versus following you home on the evenings and weekends, or I think sometimes people lean into the sales environment, which is a great career path, but I do find sometimes that those careers oftentimes do follow you home in the evenings. You are working on them in the weekends. And obviously, you've got an ROI on your time no matter what you do. That's an ROI. There's an ROI on time you put into your job, and the fact that like you could be putting it towards your business, you could be putting it towards your family. I mean, any investment in anything means that you're automatically deciding to not do something else. So I think, choosing a career path or a job that fits where your goals are, that fits how fast you want to build your business in this environment is really important to just like take a step back and consider and maybe make some tweaks if you feel like it would allow you to put more time into what you care about at that point. So I think, on that point of time though, babe, I want you to really speak to maybe some of the commitments people make. I know you're a much more social person than I am as well too. And as we've obviously seen in our experience too, that can be an advantage or something that takes away too. So if you want to speak to that a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I think early on in my business journey, it was about understanding what's the difference between pleasure, the immediate gratification we get from things, and actual happiness, something that I'm really genuinely working towards. And there's just culturally so much hype around the quick fix. I'm going to do that tonight. It's going to be really fun. I'm going to get DoorDash. I'm going to get takeout. I'm going to go meet my friends at happy hour. Like, nothing wrong with any of those things, but are they fickle and then putting you in a position that's actually stressing you out? And I think a lot of the times those things are. So what I had to get really good about was actually learning how to say no.
So big.
And I sucked at this initially because my friends are doing a book club. My friends are doing a happy hour. My family's getting a get together for this. My other friend's having a baby shower, like all of the things. And I feel so privileged to be invited and to have great relationships that I want to nurture. But all of those things cost me my time, which I have limited time. And all of those things cost me money. And when I was getting my business off the ground, I was paying off credit card debt, I was paying off student debt, and I made a very humble income. So I didn't have just cash to throw around at things. So the art of saying no is something you're going to have to learn if you're really positioning yourself to set up a foundation for growth. And it can be, even if you're somebody who gets invited to do a lot of social things, it's just as simple when your gut reaction might be like, yes, I'd love to do that. What I've learned how to exercise is, hey, I appreciate you asking me. Let me get back to you. And it just gives me a chance personally in the next day or two to reflect, hey, is this something I want to use my time and money doing? Because anytime I say yes to those things, I'm indirectly saying no to time and money I can put into this environment. Mm-hmm. And then I think another thing when it comes to just setting relationships up in your life that you can really still create wins and deposits is I learned the art of quality over quantity. A lot of people spend time with people, they're on their phones, they're not paying attention. How many of you go to family events and everybody's sitting around watching TV and they're on their phone scrolling? Wow, what quality time you had with your family. So what I learned how to do is, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it to your baby shower, but can I take you out and we can do something special together? And I learned how to make real gaining deposits with the people in my life I actually wanted to make investments with. And then the other piece of just setting up life that I've had to work on is the habits and the routines that set me up to win. And we all have limited energy during the day. Most of us are working full-time careers. What I did when I was in that space of working full-time is I protected my energy at all costs. And just a good example more recently is last year I had a gym membership, and the time that I could get to the gym that I thought would work for my schedule was 6 a.m. I sucked at that so bad. 6 a.m. workouts. And I was like hitting my head on the wall because I stay up late. I do a lot of work for what we do in the late hours. And then getting up at 5:30 was just like so painful for me. And I know many of you muscle through it and it's your jam and you get that 5 a.m. workout in. And I'm like, yeah, go.
That's never been our home
That's
vibe.
just like, and I was like, no, I'm going to be that person. I'm going to be that person. And then you know what kept happening? I would miss the class and I paid money for these classes. So after a year of an unfruitful gym experience, I joined a gym that has a class that I can work out at 9 a.m. And you know what? I am a rock star at my commitment to the gym now because I've set it up in a scenario where I can actually commit to it. And some of you are doing that in other ways with business. Like you have the best intention, but you're doing the work that you should be doing over your lunch hour and you're trying to do it at 10 p.m. when all your energy is done. So you've got to get a critical lens on how you're actually setting your day up to win and hit the areas of your life that you want to get gains.
Yeah, I think so much of this subject, like a lot of people, like time management comes to their mind.
Right.
But so much of it is on your energy management.
Yeah.
And,
my energy's
and how
not
you're
popping at 5:30.
Right. And your energy is not. And a lot of times people's energy is not popping at 10:30 at night or whatever. And maybe it is for you, but I think it's really important to identify those time frames for you and think about like where your highest priorities are and try to parallel your highest priorities with the times that you have the most energy and that you're ready to perform. And that's going to like set you up to win. I think on that same point, Lauren, when it comes to just like other commitments we have in our lives, listen, we want people to live full lives, right? But it's also at a point when you really want to succeed at a high level in anything in your career, in your health, in this business, you can't do everything. Right. And I think while, health is something that we really hold true in our family, it's also, you're not going to see us at the gym for 2, 3, 4 hours in a day. Like some people are just like hanging out and it's not like efficient and productive work. It's amazing how productive a 30 or 40 minute high intensity workout can be. Oftentimes that can be more productive than a 2-hour workout, depending on like how you're tackling that. And I think that's the other thing. I'm using the example of working out, but that's something that you should maybe be looking at when you're analyzing your time and where it's going is, am I kind of, going at 50% in certain things where the durations are really dragging out and I'm not like really giving it my all and freeing up more time to build your business in this environment. The last thing I just really want to speak to when it comes to setting up your life is that, we all want to be leaders. And we want to be able to influence other individuals. But at the end of the day, it's silly to think that we're not influenced by our environment at all. And we are, and as people grow in their confidence and their ability to perform in skill set, they obviously can maybe control that environment themselves a little bit more. But for sure, when I was like a new business owner in this environment, like, I didn't have that skill set. When I launched my Amway business, I lived a block away from Camp Randall Stadium with 7 guys. That environment wasn't conducive for me to be productive. It wasn't conducive for me to run a business. It wasn't conducive for me to probably have the most healthy habits either, right? So I made the decision to move out of that house and in with other people that aligned more with my values. And we're succeeding and we're doing things that kind of paralleled what I was doing in this environment. And I think that's a really good analysis for everybody to take. Hey, who are you spending time with? What's your living situation like? Who are you around? What's the group of people that you're doing things with? And asking yourself, is this the environment that I really see myself growing in? And if it's not, like it might be kind of that gut check realization that you've got to change. And you don't have to change overnight, but it took me weeks or months in certain decisions like that. But I think having the willingness to change and move in another direction is really going to help folks out. So any last thoughts?
Last thing is, if you want to go pro in any environment, in your corporate climb, in your business, in your health, in your whatever pursuit you're taking on, you just have to be a bit fanatical.
Yeah.
When you look at people that are Olympic athletes, you don't say, oh, it's so weird. They don't come to our family events because they're always in the gym practicing. You expect that of elite performers, that they're committed and they put other things aside so they can go after something that feels vitally important to them. And for Kyle and I, the results that we saw in this environment were what we were after. It was vitally important for us how we did dictate our life and set up our family goals. And And so not everybody understood that all the time, but we constantly leaned in to make decisions that were going to give us the foundation to build something, say no to some of the things that socially were the most normal things to do, because we just believed in what we could really create and the impact we could make here. It far outweighed some of those awkward conversations and things we said no to.
100%. Couldn't have said it better.
This is a copyrighted program of The Collective, powered by Markham Man Productions, affiliate